What's going on, guys? This one is from my dream weavers, the ones who consciously co-create with the universe at large. And today, what I'm going to be teaching you is how to actually interact, change, construct, and deconstruct your thoughts. Now, the first thing that I want you to understand, and I want you to take this literally, I want you to understand that thoughts are things. You may have heard that before, but I want you to imagine that thoughts are things is true. Okay? So as you either sit there feeling the chair beneath you, I want you to think about how that chair beneath you has a structure. It has a weight. It has a density. And when you feel the chair underneath you, I want you to begin to imagine what the structure, the weight, and density of a thought form might be. Now, a lot of people, it's a lot easier to understand thought forms by first stepping into the realm of the emotions, because when we go up in levels of consciousness, the physical manifest reality is actually the densest, the heaviest, the easiest to identify when it comes by way of energy. But when we start to shift the subtle energy of our consciousness and reality and understanding what things are made of, we go from the physical form up into the emotional form, the emotional body. Right? So the best way to articulate this is as you feel yourself sitting on your chair or feel yourself holding your phone, I want you to begin to now notice the sensations inside of your body. Okay? So maybe you go from feeling the skin on the chair and now you start to feel your hips. And as you feel those subtle sensations in your hips, you can start to feel the sensations of the air coming in and out of your nose. And as you notice those sensations in the body, what we're doing is we're turning our awareness inwards. We're going from the outside world of form, because if we want to understand how to construct and deconstruct thoughts, we need to turn our awareness inwards. We need to take our awareness off of the five senses, off of the three-dimensional world, and begin to go into the subtler planes of existence. So when we shift our attention from outside, like what we're seeing, what we're feeling, and we start to go into the sensations of the inner world, like the breath, so breathe in and feel your nose, that subtle sensation has a finer quality, has a finer texture. It's starting to go from the physical world into the energetic world. So now what I want you to do is I want you to just simply place your awareness at your belly button. I want you to place your awareness at your navel, your belly button, and begin to feel the breath down there. And as you begin to feel the breath in your belly button and your navel, what you're going to start to feel and sense and realize is that your consciousness is starting to change. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And when we put our awareness on our belly button, you notice that your breathing slows down. You notice that your heart begins to slow down. And when your breathing and your heart begins to slow down, we begin to slow down the thoughts in our mind. And as we slow down the thoughts in our mind, we can start to pick up on those subtler energies. Because if your brain is going 1,000,000 miles a minute, and I have to do this, I have to do that. Oh my gosh, did I forget to take out the cat food and put it out for them? Oh my goodness, I got to pay the bills. When we are going too fast, it's hard for us to construct and deconstruct thought forms. Because the first thing we need to do is we need to be able to catch them. So as you breathe into your belly, I want you to begin to notice what you're feeling and sensing in your body. Okay, this is training right now. I'm training. I'm not just giving you philosophical understanding of this. I want you to imagine that I'm a wizard and I'm teaching you ancient alchemical practices right now, okay? So I want you to feel the sensations in your body and start to turn it towards your emotional realm. Because your emotional realm goes from the physical, which is the element of earth, and the emotions start to turn into a liquid, okay? Emotions are more like we're floating in an ocean, and big emotions come over and crash and fall back down into peace. And then big emotions come over and fall back down into relaxation. Sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're angry. And, you know, the difference between the emotional realm is when you look at it, it's always different, just like a body of water. If you look at the chair, you look at the body, if you do that more than once, it's most likely going to be very, very similar to what you experienced before. But every moment, in every second of tuning into the emotional realm, you start to notice little, small, subtle changes. Now, this is important because when we start to go up higher in vibration, when we start to go past the emotional realm and into the mental realm, now all of a sudden, the vibrations of the mind can shift and change very quickly. Right? Squirrel. That's so beautiful. And what a beautiful, example. I literally heard a squirrel over there. I don't know if you can hear him. He's screaming. Wow, that's so cool. When we have experience in the mental realm, that's what can happen so easily. If you're really sad, it takes a little bit of time to shift out of sadness. But in the mental realm, when we start to catch our thoughts, when we start to look at the words that are going on in our mind, when we start to imagine the pictures that we show ourselves over and over and over again, we start to recognize that we can go from picture to picture to picture, from word to word to word. And it happens very quickly, which is why we need to slow everything down in our body. We need to calm the waters. We need to calm the emotional storm. Because if you can't calm the emotional storm, then there's no chance for you to catch the wind. So let's take a deep breath in. And out. And now what I want you to do is I want you to begin to create an image in your mind. I want you to imagine a sunset. I want you to imagine the sun going down. And as you imagine the sun going down, I want you to begin to create an image of the background. Are you on a mountain? Are you in a meadow? Are you overlooking a cityscape? And as you imagine that, what I want you to do is I want you to remember your first kiss. And when you go back to that memory, I want you to notice what happens in your body as you begin to shift the scenes in your mind. From the sunset to the first kiss, I want you to begin to sense what you sensed in your body. I want you to see what you saw. I want you to go back to that moment, as long as it was a pleasant one. And I want you to notice that the subtle energetic sensations in your body begin to change. And now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine, we're going into the mental realm, I want you to imagine going on a roller coaster. And as you feel yourself going up every single rung, it goes click, click, click. And as you go up on this attraction at the theme park, you go up, click, click, click. And then there's this moment where you're about to go over and you feel weightless. And then as you go down that beautiful, beautiful ride, you feel the sense in your stomach beginning to rise up. And then you can feel yourself twisting and turning and winding down the road that's in front of you. Now, what did I just do? I created an image inside of your mind. And when I created the image inside of your mind, you instantly went there. Right? When you were watching the sunset, maybe you felt in the emotional realm, you felt your body relax. Maybe you felt at peace. And then when you imagined your first kiss, maybe you started to feel a rising sensation in your body. Maybe you started to feel the chemistry inside of your body. And then when we went on the roller coaster, how many of you actually felt yourself going up each and every stage, each and every click, until you got to that point where you're weightless, and then actually felt in your body your stomach beginning to rise, just like you were going down the roller coaster. Now, the reason why this is important for you to understand is because the mind speaks in terms of images. Okay? The mind's native language is in terms of images. Okay? Now, most of us hear a little voice in our head. That voice in our head, the thought, if you really want to begin to construct and deconstruct your thought forms, you got to recognize the mind's native language is not English. It's not Spanish. It's not French. It's in images. Okay? Before we learn words, which are just symbols, they're images for something, we see the world as it is. We see the grass. We see the sunset. We see our beloved. We see these things. And our mind decodes those images, and then creates an outline, almost like a picture inside of our mind. And when we create a picture inside of our mind, now, right, because we're speaking the language of the mind, we can begin to change the picture. And when you change the picture, just like when we went from the sun over to the kiss, and we went over to the roller coaster, when you change the images, you actually change the sensations in your body, because the unconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So when we start to think about constructing brand new thoughts inside of our mind, I don't want you to worry about words, okay? The words will help you create an image. But when you start to step inside the picture, when you start to step inside the video that you're playing inside of your mind, that's when you start to really change your life. Because I want you to imagine this for a second. Let's think about something that you'd have to deconstruct. First, let's imagine you feel unloved. Right? Let's say you feel unloved, you feel unworthy, you have a belief system that you're not good enough. And when you think about you're not good enough, if you go all the way back and you pull on the string of those words, what you're going to find is you're going to find an image of mom and dad turning away from you. You're going to find an image or a movie of mom and dad raising their voice. You're going to find an image that's captured with emotion, that's colored with emotion, of this really dark, painful, sinking feeling inside of the body. And the mind, the unconscious mind, boop, takes a little snapshot, and it stores it inside of your energetic field. Now, if we want to deconstruct that image, what we have to do is we have to take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to imagine that moment in time where you needed love, you needed the hug. Maybe you needed words of affirmation. Maybe you needed someone to say, "You're good enough. I believe in you. I'm proud of you." And as you may even hear the kids in the background, because I'm over by a playground, I want you to think of that moment in time where you needed the love. And instead of what happened, I want you to add a brand new image. I want you to add your mom and dad's higher self into the mix, the part of them that's unconditionally loving, the part of them that's unconditionally receptive. And as you look at that version of them, I want you to imagine them, picture them, giving you the biggest, warmest hug you've ever had in your life and just saying, "I'm so sorry that I didn't know how to love you the way that you needed to be loved. I'm so sorry." And notice what that image makes you feel inside of your body. And as you notice that image, that feeling, what we're starting to do is we're starting to create an image inside of our mind. I'm giving you a thought. You're creating and generating a thought form, the picture, the form of the thought. And that thought form goes into your unconscious mind. It's like we're putting it on the movie screen of the back of your forehead. Your brain is interpreting that image, and then it's sending signals to your body, and it's creating a whole chemical cocktail inside of your nervous system that says love, that says connection, that says oxytocin, dopamine, big warm feelings inside of your belly, big warm feelings inside of your heart. Your heart begins to expand because you're getting that love, you're getting that connection, you're getting the approval that you've always wanted. And, there's this saying, it says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Have you ever had the experience where, someone gives you a compliment? They're like, "Wow, you look great today," or "Whoa, I love your hair," or "Wow, you did a great job on that project." And what do? We kind of glance it off to the side. We "Oh, yeah, that's not a big deal," or "Oh, this old thing." What's happening? A person's trying to give us a thought, and instead of receiving it, we're saying, "Whoop, no, I don't want that thought. That thought doesn't resonate with I'm not good enough. It doesn't resonate with I'm not worthy of receiving approval and love and validation." So we literally push the thought form away. We push it away. But what would happen if we allow that thought to come in through our ears and we actually feel it traveling to the center of our mind, and that center of our mind begins to generate a feeling and a command, and we allow that energy and that thought form of I'm worthy, I'm good enough, I am loved, to begin to travel down our brainstem, down our neck, down our shoulders, and notice it causes lots of relaxation. When you feel warm, when you feel relaxed, when you feel loved, you relax your shoulders, and we allow that thought form to land inside of our heart. What begins to change? Let's take a deep breath. That, my friend, is how you construct an image. You have to construct a thought by creating an image. The words can help you identify the image that you want, right? If I describe an image to you, a black cat walking slowly down a dark alley on midnight during All Hallows Eve, what do you see? The words helped to construct an image inside of your mind. Does it make you feel that much? No. But if I was to tell you, like, imagine, I won't do it actually, I'm not going to give you that thought. But what I want you to do is recognize that when you can construct an image, when you can relax your body, and you can take that image and float it down from the sky, right? Because it's up in the sky, it's kind of like a cloud. But when you imagine condensing the image into something more solid, more feeling, it starts to condense into a liquid, and like a raindrop, it starts to land on your head. And when it lands on your head, it goes into your body. And when that thought goes into your body, it starts to make you feel things. Now, when you begin to feel the things, just like the first kiss, just like the peace that you feel when you look at the sunset, and just like that rising feeling, the adrenaline, the excitement that rises inside of your belly when you go over the roller coaster, when you start to feel it in your body, now you have the chemistry and the state inside of you to now take action. I want you to think about that. Emotions make you feel something. Feelings make you act, right? So if we don't have control of our emotions because we don't have control over our thoughts, we no longer have control over our actions either. Right? You ever been in an argument with your loved one, and then all of a sudden, boom, they say something. Why'd you do that? Oh my gosh, yeah, I hate you. When they say something hurtful, we allow the thought to come into our ears. And what does it do? It condenses really quickly into an emotion. Boom, now I feel not good enough and unworthy. Okay, well, when you feel not good enough, unworthy, you don't like that feeling, so you defend yourself from the pain. Right? You think it's them. That you don't have control over your emotional world. They dropped a boulder inside of your swimming pool. Now all of a sudden it's chaotic and you're running around, and sometimes you raise your voice. That's an action. That's a behavior. Sometimes you say things you don't mean. That's an action. That's a behavior. Sometimes you leave the situation. That's an action. That's a behavior. And that behavior is caused by the thought coming in, rippling down, condensing like a raindrop, going down into the emotions. This happens very quickly. And then those emotions become behaviors and actions. So if we go down to the deepest part of constructing and deconstructing a thought, I want you to take a deep breath in. We begin to recognize that if we can control the images that we have in our mind, we start to have control over our emotions. And when we can control our emotions and we start to feel the things that we really want to feel, we start to feel calm, peaceful, excited, joyful, playful, adventurous, perseverant. When we start to feel those things, now our life begins to change. The colors, we take off the glasses and we put on a completely different pair of glasses and we see completely different things. Right? Some people, when their partner comes at them with criticism, they see someone coming at them with a sword and they're about to stab them in the heart. So if that's what you see, if that's the image in your mind, someone's about to stab me in the heart, what do? You put on your armor. You defend yourself. You protect yourself. Sometimes you attack back. But what happens if instead of you seeing your partner coming at you with a sword in their hand, trying to hurt you, you see their inner child begging for a hug? That's a very different image now, isn't it? And what do you do when a child is begging for a hug? You get down on one knee, you get on eye level with them, and you say, hey, that behavior is not okay. I don't like that. That's not all right. But that doesn't mean you're a bad person, and I love you. You're deserving of love. What is it that you're needing? Do you need a hug? Do you need to take a deep breath? Do you need me to give you reassurance that you're okay, that you're going to be safe? That's a very different image, which makes you feel very different things, which makes you act like a completely different person. So when you learn how to construct and deconstruct your thought forms, then your life begins to change because you begin to feel better. And when you feel better, guess what? You act better. And when you act better, people around you start to treat you differently because you're treating them differently. These are the keys to beginning to change your life forever. These are the keys that they never taught us in school. And if you start to put the key inside the door in the back of your mind, in your unconscious mind, you put the key in, you turn it, and you open the door and you start to walk through. What lies before you is the hero's journey, my friend. And on the hero's journey, you get a mentor, you get a wizard, you get friends, people on the same mission, same journey as you. You get amulets, you get weapons and tools, you get skills. You learn so many things, but most importantly, when you reach that point on your journey, or you hit the crisis, where you're doing so good, where everything's beginning to change, I'm manifesting my deepest desires, and then all of a sudden, you get hit with the crisis. The dragon comes. My friend, now you go through the rebirth process and you become the rising phoenix. You become the rising phoenix. So, I hope that you enjoyed this experience. I hope that you learned something from it. If you did, please share it with someone who is, an alchemist, a dream weaver, someone who is a magician in training. And let me know what you thought of it in the comment section. I'm going to be making some more videos, so please let me know if you have any questions, any topics you want me to cover: emotional mastery, mental mastery, overcoming the different parts inside of you, the inner child, the future self, your inner coach, your higher self, all these different things. But most importantly, healing the trauma so that we can start to shift the paradigm of this planet and start to become the sun that literally radiates love and joy, peace and freedom on this world that is in so much pain. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you on the next call.